Hello, everyone, and welcome to another terrifying episode of Tales of the Unknown. Tonight, we enter the shadows to investigate the terrifying world of murderers begging for mercy. Prepare yourself for a story that will make you tremble. Killers begging for mercy is a terrifying subject that probes the deepest recesses of the human psyche and sends shivers down the spine. A tense confrontation that will test the bounds of justice, atonement, and compassion takes place in the interrogation room in the center of a darkly illuminated precinct. You may be wondering why we are bringing this up. However, understanding the mindset of those who do horrific atrocities and how they react when confronted with the repercussions of their actions is critical. The renowned case of Jonathan Mason, a cold-blooded serial killer responsible for over a dozen heinous murders, comes first. Experienced Detective Sarah takes on notorious serial killer John Dawson with unrelenting resolve. The chamber pulses with an ominous aura, hiding secrets that want to be revealed as the shadows dance on the cold, gray walls. John's evil presence hangs over the scene, restrained but unrelenting, a physical representation of the atrocities he has perpetrated upon defenseless people. Can Detective Sarah delve into this merciless murderer's pit of darkness? In the middle of the evil that characterizes him, can she locate a shred of compassion? A cry for mercy? We begin to question if even the most terrible spirits can retain a spark of humanity in the face of ultimate evil, as the battle of wits develops into a terrifying examination of the human spirit. Interrogation Room Day. With its dark lighting creating shadows on the chilly gray walls, the interrogation room emits an unsettling aura. The air is thick with foreboding, as if the chamber itself carries sinister secrets. On one side, there is a strong table with a worn-out metal chair across it. The only thing standing between Detective Sarah and the terrifying presence tied to it is the table. Detective Sarah, a seasoned detective with a fixed gaze, takes her seat. Her eyes are sharp from years of expertise and confrontations with criminals. Despite being confronted with one of the most known killers in recent history, she remains calm and unfazed. The famed serial killer, John Dawson, is shackled to the table. His dark vibe pervades the room, and his demeanor is unsettlingly serene. A sinister grin dances across his lips, hinting at the warped pleasure he derives from the chaos he's created. Two-way mirror room. The two-way mirror on one side of the room is still veiled, its dark presence a silent witness to the escalating conflict. The mirror serves as a reminder that they are not alone. Others are watching from behind the glass. The low hum of fluorescent lights grows more evident in the tense silence, emphasizing the gravity of the situation. The passage of time appears to slow down, enhancing the intensity of the experience. Detective Sarah's hands appear to be firm on the table, but her fingers sometimes tap, indicating the haste with which she wishes to solve the mystery before her. John's chains clink faintly, a disturbing sound that echoes across the room, as if warning of the ferocity lurking beneath his calm exterior. The air is dense with the weight of John's awful atrocities. The shadow of his history lingers over the room like an invisible specter, smothering even the tiniest rays of hope. Detective Sarah, on the other hand, appears unmoved, her determination unwavering. She realizes that somewhere within this awful murderer there must be a glimmer of humanity, perhaps a shred of guilt. Her determination to find that sliver of light keeps her focused and protects her from becoming overwhelmed by the darkness that surrounds them. As the conversation begins, the room becomes into a psychological battleground between a dogged investigator seeking the truth and a crafty murderer attempting to avoid it. Both are aware of the stakes, knowing that this encounter will expose more than just a killer's mind. It will disclose the depths of the human brain, and perhaps even the ability for mercy in the most heinous hearts. Jonathan Mason on his knees. The courtroom is filled with an air of solemnity as the verdict is about to be pronounced. Jonathan Mason stands at the defendant's table, his face pallid, and his eyes dart nervously around the room. The weight of his actions and the gravity of his crimes are evident in every line etched on his face. As the judge begins to address him, Mason's composure starts to crumble. His legs shake uncontrollably, and he feels the weight of his conscience bearing down upon him. He falls to his knees, his hands gripping the edge of the table as if trying to anchor himself in the storm of emotions. The families of the victims sit in the gallery, their eyes fixed on Mason, their grief still fresh, seeking some semblance of closure. Some look away, unable to bear the sight of the man responsible for their immense pain. Mason raises his head, his eyes meeting the judge's gaze, searching for any sign of leniency. The courtroom falls into an uneasy silence as he struggles to find the right words. His voice falters, tears welling up in his eyes as the weight of his crimes crashes down upon him. He glances over at the families of the victims, their faces etched with pain and sorrow, and he realizes the magnitude of his actions. Mason reaches out, his hands trembling, as if imploring the judge and everyone present for understanding and forgiveness. But the room remains silent, and the judge's expression remains stern and unyielding. As he pleads for mercy, Mason's desperation is palpable, his vulnerability laid bare before the court. The contrast between the cold-blooded killer he once was and the broken man now on his knees is striking. The proceedings in court continue, but Mason remains on his knees, unable to stand. His cries for mercy reverberate in the minds of everyone there, leaving them to wrestle with the complexity of justice, forgiveness, and the human propensity for both good and evil. Moral of this case. Detective Sarah exits the interview room after an exhausting psychological dance, her face a mask of tiredness and success. The mysterious experience with John Dawson has left an imprint on her, reminding her of the depths of darkness that can exist in the human psyche. The two-way mirror, which had hidden the watching eyes behind the glass, now sits silently as a testimony to the pursuit of justice. Detective Sarah considers the delicate balance between seeking justice and providing mercy as she walks away from the haunted chamber. The image of John's wicked grin persists in her mind, filling her with dread. For she has observed the terrifying truth that even in the minds of the most heinous murders, a call for mercy can emerge from the depths of darkness. In these moments, the boundary between good and evil blurs, putting her willpower and understanding of the human psychology to the test. As she returns to the outside world, she bears the weight of this meeting with her, permanently altered by the unnerving sight into the mind of a killer pleading for mercy. Case of Rachel Turner. Next, we explore the perplexing case of Rachel Turner, a seemingly ordinary housewife who shocked everyone with her dark secret. The light shines brightly on the magnificent residences that line the tree-lined street. Children play in the front yards, while neighbors exchange pleasantries across white picket fences. The scenario appears to be a picture-perfect suburban fantasy, but a deadly truth is buried behind the doors of one seemingly ordinary house. Day in the life of Rachel Turner. The living area is elegantly adorned with family mementos and comfortable furniture. Rachel Turner, in her early 40s, appears to be the image of a caring housewife and mother. Her friends and neighbors have come to expect her pleasant smile and nurturing demeanor. Fast forward a few months, and we find Rachel Turner seated at the interrogation table, her veneer crumbling. Detectives ask her about a string of unexplained disappearances in the community. Rachel's terrible secret is gradually revealed as the investigation unfolds. Rachel is related to the missing persons, and the evidence against her is accumulating beneath the mask of a dedicated wife and mother. Rachel fights to keep her cool in the dimly lit room, but the weight of her actions becomes too great to bear. She ultimately breaks down and confesses to the crimes that have taken everyone who thought they knew her by surprise. As word of the investigation spreads, neighbors congregate outside Rachel's house, their faces filled with shock and dismay. As reporters and camera teams arrive on the scene, the once quiet suburban neighborhood is now humming with journalists. The horrifying revelation about Rachel Turner, the seemingly regular housewife turned serial killer, is reported by news anchors. The tale captivates the nation's attention, and speculations about her motivations and the scope of her actions abound. Investigators meticulously gather evidence within Rachel's home, piecing together the unnerving jigsaw of Rachel's double life. The truth is significantly more complicated than anyone expected. The courtroom is packed as Rachel Turner awaits the court's decision. Friends and neighbors who once trusted her are now in shock, unable to reconcile the lady they thought they knew with the atrocities she committed. Rachel's actual nature emerges as the inquiry and legal hearings progress, revealing a broken soul with deep-seated issues that pushed her to conduct these atrocities. A forensic psychologist investigates Rachel's psyche in order to determine the motivations behind her conduct. Her turbulent past and the trauma she underwent become critical puzzle pieces. Rachel Turner's terrible secret is a chilling reminder that appearances can be deceiving. The most unexpected people may be hiding secrets behind closed doors that might shatter the illusion of a flawless life. Rachel Turner's baffling case serves as a sobering reminder that evil can lurk everywhere, even behind the facade of an ordinary housewife. The disturbing revelation has left the community questioning trust, vulnerability, and the frailty of human nature. Moral of this case: as we conclude our exploration into the perplexing case of Rachel Turner, we are left with a chilling reminder of the human capacity for evil and the lengths to which individuals will go to escape the consequences of their actions. While Rachel Turner may not have directly begged for mercy, her desperate attempt to conceal her crimes and maintain the facade of a caring housewife and mother speaks to the fear and desperation that often drive criminals. Throughout our journey, we have witnessed the chilling tales of killers brought to their knees, pleading for mercy in the face of justice. Jonathan Mason's trembling voice and tearful confession, and the haunting image of Rachel Turner breaking down under the weight of her actions, are stark reminders of the consequences that await those who commit heinous acts. These stories serve as a warning that evil can lurk in the most unexpected locations, concealed behind everyday masks. They implore us to be watchful and compassionate, to comprehend the complexity of the human psyche, and to seek justice for the victims and their families. We are impelled to examine the difficult balance between justice and compassion as we dig into the minds of killers, pleading for mercy. The devastating visuals of their appeals should serve as a reminder of the need for a fair and just legal system, in which the truth can be revealed and justice served. And with that, we've entered the terrifying and thought-provoking world of killers pleading for mercy. These stories have revealed humanity's dark underbelly, reminding us of the complexity that exists within the human psyche. We have seen the depths of darkness that may lurk in the human heart, from the cold-blooded serial killer Jonathan Mason to the seemingly ordinary housewife turned serial killer Rachel Turner. These stories have made us wonder about the thin line that separates good and evil, as well as the scary reality that even the most horrible offenders may wish for mercy when confronted with the repercussions of their crimes. Let us remember the victims and their families, whose lives were permanently broken by these horrible deeds, while we navigate the shadows of these disturbing situations. Their anguish and agony serve as a somber reminder of the significance of seeking justice and comprehending the human condition. We appreciate you joining us on this terrifying voyage into the unknown. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and press the bell button. Stay tuned for more terrifying tales and psychological examinations in future episodes of Tales of the Unknown. Until then, may we be attentive and empathetic as we wrestle with the mystery of killers pleading for mercy?